Okay, last section of the chapter. We're going to be solving right triangles. In this lesson, it's not really anything new. It's just 2 vocab words. It's going to be defining an angle of elevation and an angle of depression. Everything else is going to be using sine, cosine, and tangent, and you're just going to look to see where the angle is given and what sides you have in relation to that angle. An angle of elevation is the angle formed by a horizontal line and a line of sight to a point above the line. In the diagram, angle 1 is the angle of elevation from the tower T to the plane P. So, what I'm talking about when I'm referring to an angle of elevation, it's from the eye level up or from the ground up. So the angle of elevation is going up. So you're looking up at the plane, and it creates, with your eye line here, an angle, and this is called the angle of elevation. When you have the angle of depression, it's the angle formed by a horizontal line and the line of sight to a point below the line. So angle 2 would be your angle of depression. So here is the horizontal line of sight. You're looking down from the plane to the tower, and it's making an angle of depression. So it's from the eye level down is the angle of depression. You will have a question where I'm going to give you a word problem. You will have to draw your own picture and create either an angle of elevation or an angle of depression on the test on Thursday. Yes?
So we would draw a horizontal line?
Yes. In the next couple examples, if you notice on the slide, there's no picture, and I'm going to show you how to draw the picture. Everybody good with this, the notes on this slide? All right, next slide. Okay, it says, since horizontal lines are parallel, angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent by the alternate interior angles theorem. So basically what it's saying is the angle of elevation from one point is congruent to the angle of depression from the other point. So from point P to point T, when you make your angle of depression and your angle of elevation, they're going to be congruent because these lines of sight are parallel lines. And this is the transversal, making these alternate interior angles. Example 1, it says to draw a diagram. The diagram's not in here, so I'm going to draw a picture. It says, draw a diagram showing a person who is 1.5 meters tall. So I'm going to draw my little stick figure here. And I know this guy is 1.5 meters tall. And he's standing 20 meters from the base of a building. And here's my building. It's had some windows, so we know this is a building. You don't have to be detailed, just because we just need to get some triangles here. Okay, so he's standing 20 meters from the base of a building. Also show that the person's sight at the top of the building with an angle elevation of 58 degrees. So I've got, here's his eye. Here's my horizontal line of sight. Gonna make a little dash line over here. But he's looking up at the top of the building, creating an angle of elevation of 58 degrees. Anybody see a right triangle here? I've got a right triangle right here that I just formed from him looking up at the top of the building with his line of sight and then the side of the building here. Yes?
Are we going to have to draw the line of sight, or is it going to be on like a homework or something? Like I
I don't know if it's in the homework. You will have to draw your own figure in the test. Okay, across from that 58-degree angle, this is what I'm going to try to find, is this x value. Now, this is what I'm looking for because I'm only referring to this triangle up here because it's the only thing I can use my tangent function or my sine or my cosine. Now, I need to find out how high that is. I know this base of the triangle here, or this leg, is 20. What is the side opposite the 50, or what is x? Which side? Opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse? Okay, 20 is adjacent, but x is opposite. Which trig ratio uses opposite and adjacent?
TOA.
TOA, so the tan. So tangent of 58 is equal to opposite, which is x, over adjacent. And now I'm going to solve that. So to solve that, I'm going to multiply both sides by 20. So in my calculator, I'm going to do 20 times tan 58. And I get x equals 32. Now, the question didn't ask how much was that little section. It asked for the height of the building. Is my building 32 meters tall?
No.
Okay, what else do I have to do to it?
Add 1.5.
Add that man's tall or that person's height. So my answer is going to be 32 plus the 1.5. So the height of my building is 33.5 meters. So you have to remember to add in the distance from his line of sight down. Yes.
So like that line is funny adjacent, it's from here.
Yeah, but we're going to assume that it's the top of his head. We're not going to...
Okay, so then it's basically the top of his head, that's why. So it doesn't matter, like the 1.5 you add.
Right, you're just going to add that total amount. Good? Let's look at the next example. We've got an ice climber. He's standing at the edge of a crevice. Okay, so let's draw this picture. Here he is. He's up at the top. And it says that to the other side is 115 feet. That's how wide this gap is. It says the angle of depression from the edge, from where she stands to the bottom of the opposite side, is 52 degrees. So here goes my angle of depression. Here's the line of sight. It makes a 52-degree angle. This is going to be a common mistake if you put it on the other side. Remember, it's made from the line of sight to where the point where you're looking down. Okay? It wants to know how deep this is. So that's going to be my x. Right here is my right triangle. What is x in relation to the 52? Which side? Opposite. Okay, so this is OPP. What is the 115, which will be also up here? Adjacent. So again, which trig ratio we using? Same one, tangent. Tangent of 52 is equal to opposite over adjacent. And again, multiply both sides by the 115. Once I do that, I get x equals 147.19. Rounded to the nearest foot would be 147 feet. Yes?
Could you have done it by putting the 50, like, since the depression and the elevation are the same one, couldn't you have, like, put it at the bottom?
At the bottom looking up, well, because it said angle of depression, it's going to tell you which one it is. Depending on how you draw your angle, you can get a different answer if you don't put your angle in the right spot. Because then your sides are going to be maybe adjacent and opposite or hypotenuse. So the place that you put the angle is going to be important. Remember, the angle of depression is made from the line of sight with the thing looking down. So this way, and then you look down also.
Wait, what'd you get next?
This was the answer. It's 147.19 equals x. Sorry. So when you did on your calculator 115 times tan 52, that gives me 147.19. And I rounded to the nearest foot. So this was x equals. It's kind of sloppy, sorry. All right, one more example, I think. Example, and we're done. Okay, here we actually have a figure. It says solve the right triangle. Whenever you're given a question and it says solve, I want you to find every missing piece. So I have the missing hypotenuse here. I have this missing adjacent or opposite side. And I also have a missing angle here. What would be the easiest piece to find?
The angle.
The angle. How can I find that?
9 plus 42 minus 1.
Okay, so I could know that the three angles add up to be 180. I already have two of them. Add them, 132. Subtract that from 180, and I get 48. Also remember that these two angles here, A and B, are also complements. So I could just do 90 minus 42. Yes?
So you don't have to do, so once you get the bottom leg, you don't have to do sine, cosine, or anything of that again. You just do Pythagorean theorem.
You could, yes. Now, the problem with that what I recommend you do is do the trig ratios, but only do it on the given information. Because let's say you did that, you found either the hypotenuse or the opposite, but what if you put the wrong button on your calculator? And now you're using that for a second answer, which was a wrong answer, and now you're going to get the second one wrong. I recommend you do Pythagorean theorem to check your answers. So once you do a squared plus b squared, if it doesn't equal the c squared, you know you hit the wrong button on your calculator. But technically, yes, if your answer is accurate, Pythagorean theorem works. Make sense? All right. So I'm going to do two trig ratios using the 70 and the 42 for both x and y. So what I'm going to do first is, which one you want to find first? X or y? You want to find y? Okay. So let's label these sides. What is x? What side? Hypotenuse. And what's y? This one's a leg and it's opposite the 42. All right. So which one is going to use, actually I need to do adjacent. I need to find x first because I have adjacent and hypotenuse. So I'm going to find x first. So I'm going to do cosine, because that uses adjacent and hypotenuse. Cosine of 42 is equal to 70 over x. Then I'm going to multiply both sides by x to get it to cancel. And then I get cosine 42 x, I'll just move it to the other side, divide by cosine 42. And then once I divide 70 by cosine 42, I get y equals 94.19. Said round to the tenths place, so 94.2. Okay, now I'm going to do tangent because I can do adjacent and opposite. Okay, technically I could use the number I just got, but if I did something wrong, now I got two wrong answers. So I'm going to do tangent. I guess I could have done this first. Tangent of 42 is equal to x over 70. Opposite over adjacent. This one I just have to multiply both sides by 70 to get it to cancel. And then when I do tangent of 42 times 70, I get x equals 63. Now, what I recommend you do is do the Pythagorean theorem now. And check this out. This should be 94.2, and this should be 63. So now if you did 63 squared plus 70 squared, it should equal 94 squared, 94.2. If it doesn't, then we've done something wrong. Make sense? All right, so your homework is 7-7, practice B. You have to turn it in. Show me all the ratios. If it doesn't have a picture, draw one. Okay? Now, also, one more.